Haha, and welcome back, gamers. Welcome back to us all. Let's just fucking kick this shit off.
Okay, I need to interrupt for a second.
Oh, and I'm already being interrupted so rudely. What's up?
Sim. That's all.
Seb is playing Persona 5 in the background and just called Ryuji a simp. And he's not wrong. But yeah, stuff, right? Oh shit. Fall back!
Great, I feel like...
Hold on, traps! Kill this specter! And this shade. Ooh, that's pretty.
Great, I feel like...
Kill it punch with your essence. A pulse from the world itself moves through it. Kill them all! Kill all these spooky ghosts! Ain't no room for spooky ghosts here. Hey, how'd fucking what's-his-fuck get through all this shit?
This thing isn't doing the job. Up.
Go around, idiot. God damn it. Idiots.
Certainly.
Can go around. Okay.
Of course.
What have we
Of
here?
course. This thing ain't doing the job. Right, well, always be lefting.
Great, I feel like...
It's the most important rule of being an adventurer. When in doubt, go left.
Spot on!
Okay, what's the deal with this? Anything? Okay. The same thing. Gotcha, gotcha. Tugs at my essence. And is pretty sexy.
Great, I feel like... Can't get a good shot at this.
Maybe these things are the cults. And that's why they're here and unkilled. Oh, that's right. She has a chance to just kill anything like this immediately. I forgot about that. I'm done. Oh. I need to have more might, which is literally impossible. Because this game doesn't, like, work that way.
Great, I feel...
You don't even have close to that, yeah. Like,
like...
I mean, I guess I could equip stuff to do that if the character already had a bunch, but I like what she's got equipped better.
This thing isn't doing.
Maybe I can, like, enchant. No, she doesn't have anything. Oh wait, it's because I'm in combat.
Hey.
Okay, now enchant attribute. Yeah, this thing's already got shit done. Cannon chant. Yeah. And the only other thing would be weapon, but since it's a soulbound thing, womp womp. Can't enchant that, because that's the whole point of soulbound things. Oh. Uh-oh, it's plot. That looks cool. It's spooky. Oh, hello? Column of Audra rises above you, stoic and resilient, its rigid layers a measuring stick for the passing of ages. Is it? I didn't know Audra worked like that. It feels to you as a thick block of ice, and you perceive buried deep in its core a dim flickering flame, all but extinguished, yet preserved against the ravages of the elements. As you approach, the flame seems to steady and draw strength, and the layers separating it from you melt away, and you are bathed in its glow, a bright beacon in the gloom. The glow seems to fade, as if it hadn't just started. As though you had adjusted to its intensity, and where it was, Iovara seeps into existence, an idyllic shade hovering above the moist prison floor. This is a prison, isn't it? Though ageless, she appears somehow different to you now. A slight stoop to her carriage, perhaps, or a trace of sunkenness in her eyes. There's a broad scar across her face, fibrous and wormy where flames once lapped, unhealed even in death.
Hello, old friend. The ages have been kind to you, I hope. You are so different now from who you were then, yet much remains the same. Old troubles with a new face. What is it that has brought you here?
It would seem I have unfinished business here.
I'd hoped after our last discussion you would find what you sought. Has it eluded you all this time?
I guess.
I can only guess your presence here has something to do with Theos. The energy of this place changes when he is near. I don't know what he has done, but I do know of the souls that pass through here now. They do not come by choice.
He diverted them from the cycle. He seeks to empower Wodaka and to blame Animancy for the damage he's caused.
After all this time, he would still stand against the tide.
You knew me when Theos did. There's something I need to know about that time.
I will tell you what I remember.
There's something about that lifetime my soul can't let go of. I need to know what it is, and I'm running out of time. I see moments from that life, of you, of the Inquisition, of Theos.
I can see his influence, still hanging like a weight about your neck. So it always was. He had inspired something in you. We spoke of him the last time you were here also.
When was that?
It was just after the trial.
Oh.
You were agitated. I think because you started to consider that what I was teaching may have been true.
And what was that? Her mouth tightens and her brow furrows, a look of pity. Her eyes shift back and forth between each of yours, as if looking for something that would help her decide whether to speak.
That the gods aren't real.
I don't know about that. I've spoken to them. Oh wait, shit, I forgot to change my game thing. One sec. I'm professional. This is a new thing that I was doing, and I forgot to do a thing. Okay, we're back. It's fine. No worries. Don't want people on Twitch thinking that I'm still playing Dreamscaper. 'Cause I'm not anymore. Now it's Pillars of Eternity. Gods aren't real. Ha 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 ha! Of course not. It all makes sense now.
Huh. I'd dreaded the idea from the moment the Delimgon suggested it. And yet, it almost feels like a relief.
Hmm?
She's not serious.
Perhaps not to her. Many are those whom the gods have scorned. This is petty retribution.
That doesn't seem possible.
I mean, again, I've talked to them, and I've seen a god corpse.
What I taught was that the gods whose faith we had been spreading were not gods at all, but something else entirely.
If it walks like a
Something
god
created
and quacks
by
like a god. Who created these gods, and for what?
They were conceived by Engwith, a
Hmm,
society
they
of
would.
high minds and broad concerns.
That's so like Engwith.
Theos' people. In their time, every people worshipped its own gods. Sometimes they warred over it. After a few wars of their own, the Engwithans sought an end to it. They devoted all their energy to finding the true creators.
Damn.
Generation after generation, they prodded and worked the stitching of the world and unlocked its secrets.
Oh,
One day, they found
Cool.
an answer. Except the answer was no answer at all. There were no gods to be found,
womp
or
womp.
if there ever were, they were gone.
Womp womp.
It shook them, this finding.
Yeah, that's fair.
They could discover this on their own. How long until others would? How long before war and chaos reigned over a world without consequence?
I mean,
But they had mastered many things.
it's
in their
not
pursuit
without
of these
consequence.
answers. And with their mastery, they crafted their own gods to fill the void.
Like, you can
and
have
sent missionaries to the corners of the world to
morality
spread their
and
faith.
consequence without deities. Come on. Come on. How'd you discover this?
The Engwithan missionaries all knew it,
Mhm.
but they never told the rest of us. They meant it to be a secret that died with them.
Of course,
And
of
in
course.
the end, they allowed their bloodlines to fade from memory. I had been assigned to join a few of them at a temple. I found the door to their chambers closed, but the room was stone and the door thin. Their voices
Of course,
said,
of course.
I heard enough. I investigated the things they spoke of, and everything
Yes,
was there,
the things they spoke
just
of.
as they said it'd be.
Everything was there. What was where? Later on, after I left the Order, a few Engwithans found my words persuasive and joined my cause. They revealed what I did not already know. This is why you started your own faith.
I never thought of it as faith, but I think you are right to call it that.
Radical
Let the
atheism.
world see. Let them decide what to do. That was my faith. I became a missionary because the gods brought me hope that I wanted to bring to others.
Huh,
For a time,
okay.
The truth sent me to a dark place. Then
I
the
get
day
that.
came when I realized nothing had changed. That I
True.
still had a purpose, and the purpose was the same and it was worth living for.
Uh-huh.
I began questioning the other missionaries in public, exposing their parlor tricks.
Hell yeah.
In time, their following became mine.
Is it true what you taught?
You asked me this once before. Nothing I can say would be any proof, and it may be certainty your soul craves. Resolution. But if you are bound for the same place Theos directs these souls, you will see for yourself, as you once did.
Wait, if I once did, then why do I need to be here again? That means it didn't give me resolution.
Everyone faces this truth at one time or another.
Do they?
Confront it. Few have the stomach to ask what if. And in avoiding the question, they deny themselves an identity of their own.
I don't know if that's entirely true. She scans her audience in silence, her eyes thoughtful, lingering on each member of your company in turn, finding interest in things unseen.
What if all the tragedy, all the persecution, came in defense of an imposter?
Well, that'd be fucked up.
But that's not... That can't be right. Aethys, he's done miracles for people.
The power of the gods is undeniable. The truth of the story they weave is not. What if it were forbidden knowledge rather than fault that earned your doom? What of your guilt?
What of my guilt?
Mogren set a path for me. She is fickle and cruel, but that is how she teaches. You know nothing of the fires that have shaped me.
It's true.
And
You
what
never
if the
told me your
fires
backstory.
themselves were lies. Lies you told yourself to bridge the gap between experience and truth.
Beads of sweat coalesce on Durance's forehead and trickle down the sides of his face in streaming rivulets, as though he were a block of ice standing before a great pyre.
What if you had always been alone, without guidance?
Well, as poorly as I've chosen my guides, I suppose it would be a comfort to know that I'm free of them.
The freedom
Sure.
has always been. It was the guidance that was the illusion. What if our burdens come to us not because they are meant to be, but because they happen to be?
We fulfill them anyway, because they still matter to the people around us, even if we know better.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you still have consequence in a world with other people and things happening.
What if even mastery over all things cannot answer the most basic of questions?
I stopped asking those questions long ago. It is enough to care for those we love with the time we have in this life.
Fair and valid. What if we can be assured of nothing? Then only when we cease to exist as being can peace be found. The only value is in the things we create ourselves? Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one.
Verus. We find purpose in ourselves and in the people in our lives.
There is bliss to be found in the things we create, but sorrow as well.
Yeah, obviously.
Every
I'm a
creation
fucking
bears the
streamer.
imperfections of its creator, and its creator's creator. Art and song are creations, but so are weapons and lies. We must
Yeah.
be careful that our creations
Fair, I
do
guess.
not consume us. I ask these things not to trouble you, but to show why they must be confronted. No answer is simple.
All
But
the answers
somewhere
are
between them all
simple. What are
lies
you
a truth
talking
so
about?
beautiful, not even a god could conceive it. Do we not owe ourselves a chance to find our part in it?
We do. Even without assurances, there's still truth.
If that is truly what you believe, then you are a far different person than the one I knew. I've been alone here with my thoughts for so long now.
Yeah, what are you
I
doing
found
here?
peace with my failures and with my punishment. I no longer curse fate for what might have been. There is one thing that has clawed and scraped at my mind all these years. One thing that will not be put to rest until I know.
Ah, I see.
Until I
I see.
understand.
For the first time, hints of doubt trace her serene image.
I need to know why you chose to remain with the Inquisition, even after you'd learned the truth. Do you remember?
Ooh. I don't think this has actual, like, narrative impact or, like, mechanical impact, but damn. I don't know. That's cowardly. Your capture brought me glory.
Was it really all for that? The esteem of the Inquisition? Good. Good. The things I taught, the things I believed, I needed to hear that. I needed to know it wasn't because...
Because I thought Theos was right. I needed to know that it wasn't because, after everything you'd learned, you'd still rather believe in a lie. If that is the conclusion people reach once they know everything, then my purpose has been a mistake. Did my opinion matter so much to you?
You were more than a friend. You were the only person I trusted. I always believed in your judgment. Never have I felt so confident in my beliefs as the day you arrived in my camp. You had heard both sides, seen everything. If not you, then who?
Let's see your point.
I'm aware of the folly of trying to learn so much from so little. I've had time to consider that in all its facets. But in the end, it was all I had. Even knowing what you've told me, some part of me knows it doesn't truly answer what I wished to know, nor will an eternity of silent contemplation. I will have only my guesses and suspicions, and that will have to do.
Fair.
And what of your understanding of our past? Are you at ease with the choice you made?
See the world differently now than I once did. I'm tempted with that, but I still feel bad. So, I regret what I did to you and wish your forgiveness.
You've always had my forgiveness,
Aww.
no matter your reason. There are circumstances behind that reason we all share. Knowing that, it is difficult to hold spite in one's heart. At first I thought this might be the source of your soul's anguish.
Uh-huh.
But now I see I was mistaken. You are not divided on this matter. You have put it behind you. It is with Theos that your agony lies, in sun and shadow. Your questions are not for me, but for him. And it may be that only an answer from the mouth of Theos himself will satisfy your needs.
Yes, of course, of course.
Yet if there is anything I can tell you that would be of use, ask and you shall know.
Are you bound here until the end of time?
In a matter of speaking. This is Braeth Yam, the court of the penitents. Souls are confined here until they repent. They must beg the forgiveness of a god, pledge their soul to them, and they will be lifted from this place to the world above. In truth, they receive leniency, but not true mercy. The spite of Woodica is eternal. They linger above, at the side of the old court, and are not permitted to leave the island, forever severed from the cycle.
That's fucked up.
This prison was full once in the days of the Inquisition. But time weathers all things, even will. I'm the only tenant who remains.
Oof.
I feel their presence strongly now, as it was in the beginning. You have brought many of them here. They cry out for the judgment of Theos. You have struck some bargain with the gods, then.
The gods aid me because they want Theos destroyed. I owe them no debt.
They aid you because they would bend you to their own purposes. Engwith built gods from ideals, and an ideal on its own is a grotesque and vicious thing. But these souls, these forgiven the gods have bequeathed you like chattel. They were loyal followers in life. They will be with you to the very end.
Let me ask you about something else. Why has Theos done all this?
He cares only for the secret he keeps locked away. He destroys anyone who might discover it, no matter their chances. That's why he's always favored Woodica. It isn't in her love of promises or justice. It's her disregard for the rules. Her willingness to do what is necessary. To Theos, she's not a deity, but an ally with which to conspire. When her power waxes, she does as she pleases with this realm, as well as hers. And
I
she
see,
wants
I
that
see, I
secret
understand.
guarded as much as he.
I shouldn't still be in a dreamscaper. I set the thing to Pillars of Eternity. I did it late,
I need to refresh.
but it says on my side,
If Theos succeeds, there will be a shift in the balance of power among the gods. Boudica was vanquished once, when the other gods decided she had gone too far, and her power diminished. With this infusion, there is no telling what she will do. The only certainty is that there will be chaos in their realm, as well as ours.
how can I get Theos to tell me what I need to know?
You will not find a more resolute being on all of Aeora. There is no offer you could
okay.
make, nor spell you could cast.
Yeah,
nor
for
pain you could inflict that would make him reveal what he hides.
the opening stuff, the going live,
But
it
I
would
see you
say
have become a
Dreamscaper.
watcher in this life. Perhaps in defeat, when he can no longer defend himself, you might learn something from him.
Okay, so I gotta kick his ass. Gotcha. Time for me to
Theos
go.
will not wait for you. If you do not catch up to him now, you may never find him again.
What he defines here is an illusion. You are a slave to the gods, bound to their rules, stuck in their system. Your continued existence is proof of the gods' dominion over all of us. You notice a bond now, one that has always been, an interleaving... Interleaving? That should be interweaving, shouldn't it? Of her essence with yours, at the extremities of your perception. You are tied to this woman's spirit, and you can feel a measure of control over it, as though you were its shepherd. What are you suggesting? I can disintegrate your soul. Make you cease to exist. Then I would be no different from the other souls the gods have broken in this place. I do not wish to stop fighting them. Alright, I'm not gonna argue that. That's fair. I respect that.
Good to see you again one last time, old friend. I thought I'd seen my last friendly face long ago. If ever we should meet again, in this life or any other, I hope to find you at peace.
Fingers crossed, eh?
Hey,
Hey. Oh, hey. Hey, enemies.
Great. I feel like
Nice to see you here.
Don't even slow your
Smacka, smacka. Attacka.
this thing isn't doing the job.
Nope. Almost just deliberately sent them
it's
to
done.
stand on a trap. Which would be bad and dumb.
So, it's true. The gods are a sham that people have followed for thousands of years.
No one gonna comment on that? Yep. The gods are fake. Cool. Uh-huh.
I can't see much, but I hear a noise like a pig choking on wet feed. So, I guess Durance is breathing at least.
Fucking crucify him. Damn, this is some killing of the first flame shit. Haha! Neat. Neat and cool. Wow, this place is big. Wow, this place is big, huh? Oh boy.
Full of surprises, aren't you?
Look at the size of this place.
Can you do that again? I had something in my eye. Missed most of it.
Dear, you're perfect.
Craved, I feel like fearless.
Fuck up these ghosts. I will fuck a ghost. Gonna do it. Don't know about that life. Baby, I will fuck a ghost. Not listening when you say you'll die. Oh. Oh, looks like I can do it again. Hey, no one told me there was gonna be a shadow dragon.
This thing isn't doing it.
Try something else.
No one told me there'd be a shadow dragon here. I don't love that. You know, if I'm being honest, I don't love that that's here. Though I do love how it's just getting dunked on. That's very funny, actually. Okay. Neat. Oh, wait, shit. Aloth, you got something to say?
We've been lied to. Our whole lives, and many lives before that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's led us to put our faith in a pantheon of gods that never deserved it in the first place.
Deus is wrong. Most people are fundamentally decent. Knowing the truth will only make them better. Yeah, I don't believe that like everyone will just be like, ah, the gods are fake. Time to be awful.
You're right. People will be better off finding direction on their own than following this farce. Besides, the gods haven't exactly done much to prevent us from slaughtering each other.
Also that.
If anything, they've only given us more pretenses for doing so. Seems like that's all they've been doing of late. I've also been thinking, there won't be much left of Theos by the time you're done with him, if I know how to operate. That will leave the Leaden Key headless. Perhaps it's best it stays that way.
I don't think it should be headless. I think it should be destroyed. Do what you think is right.
Let's face Theos.
I'm guessing I can put him in charge?
No one is able to commit his abuses again.
which seems weird. No. I don't need to do that. Alright, I guess let's do this again. Wah, 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 wah!
Craved, I feel I fear them.
Tanks, defend! Oh, another dragon! Ranged! Dunk on the dragon! Dunkus the dragon!
Try something else.
Oh, knocking down the dragon's just so fucking funny. How does that even work? Okay, I just can't go. Oh, I guess they end in broken, but still a little weird. I can't go down those stairs. IMO.
Craved, I feel I fear them.
Fucking kill him! God,
Try something else.
that combat log goes by so fast. Oh, can I not even get to these places? They're just painted on? Interesting. Thought maybe those were like places I could go for like, I don't know, extra loot or lore or something. And it's just like, no, that's just scene dressing. Which is fine. That's fine. God, is this gonna be like the final confrontation already? Because if so, dang.
Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen? I am trusting you to remain loyal to the gods in this. If you do not, you will have greater powers than me to answer to. I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was.
I see.
Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders.
They have. This is all stuff we've heard before.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
Very dramatic. Very dramatic. Hey, guy. Hey, dear.
Doesn't that just beat all? Here I was, wondering all this time whether all these terrible things were people's fault or the gods. Turns out they might be the same thing.
Damn.
Wonder how things would have gone different 15 years ago if the raid Sarens had been told their god was made in some forge or kiln someplace. Would we still have gone to war?
People were starving. They'd have rebelled sooner or later.
I could see the rebellion still happening, but I don't know that they would have invaded.
He looks down at the ground, drumming his fingers against his side restlessly. When he speaks again, it seems half to himself.
I don't know. When Woden left for war, we, had a fight. As brothers will.
What about?
About him going off to war. He was set on it. My parents warned him. They said you get a new country with every trip across the border, but your god, you only get the one.
Okay.
Me? I didn't know who was right. All I knew was I didn't want him to go. It's the same for families as it is for gods. You only get the one.
That ain't true at all.
I said every vicious thing I could think of, trying to change his mind. He brushed it off. Just got me madder, of course, him being so calm. He said I should come with him, but he'd understand if I didn't want to. I told him he'd better be able to face his god one day and answer for what he'd done. He said he'd keep that in mind.
Then he faced his god, like literally, like face to face.
By the time I'd cooled off, months had passed. One morning it dawns on me that my brother always knew better than me. If he was so sure of what he was doing, then I should be there with him. Packed my things and was on the road that same morning. Of course, what I didn't know then was he'd already changed his mind. By that time, he was dead on that field.
Womp womp. Do you think he went to Widewind because of what you said? If you'd left with him, you'd have known why he changed his mind.
If I'd have left with him, we'd both be dead, so I don't know why I bother thinking about it. I found my own way.
Fair and true.
It wasn't my brother's and it wasn't my god's. I don't know if it was right. But I couldn't abide what Widewind was doing to his own. God or not. I don't regret it. Whether Widewind was Aothis, well, it hardly seems to matter after what we just heard. All these questions I've been trying to figure out. I think I just miss my brother.
Do you think he went to Widewind because of what you said?
My mind. You live in a place like Gilded Vale. You don't have a whole lot else to do other than think about things you don't want to think about.
Mood.
I hope that wasn't it. I hope he went there because it's what he thought was right. But it seems I'm not meant to know.
Womp womp. Let's be on our
Still
way.
one more mess we gotta straighten out. Come on then. I still owe you one. Of course.
Nope. Okay. That certainly is a thing. Oh. Hey, guy. Are you real? You've come to a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with Adra and trimmed with copper. At the far end, a great pillar of Adra pierces the floor from below like a ragged spike, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Your thoughts are yours, and not yours, and they are all questions. At the base of the pillar stands Theos, a look of concern on his face as he notes your approach. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all others, spinning madly in your mind, but you don't dare ask it yet. You need some admission from him first, some hint of the veracity of your suspicions.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Your mind races, weighing different angles of approach, your emotions barely in check. What is this place?
We are in a sanctum holy to Utica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
All these statues, who are they of?
They are monuments to Utica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
The machine behind you, what does it do?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
Hey, was Zeovara telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
Was the entire Inquisition a lie?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
Yucko. You are shaking now, having lost all patience for tact. No more evasions. You have to know everything you believed, everything you have done for the gods. Did you lie to me when you said the gods could end suffering? Are there no gods?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next.
Oof,
Our
relatable.
gods are all these things.
Theos' every word you find yourself losing control of a boiling cauldron of rage and doubt and fear and hopelessness until you can take it no more. Are there no gods?
We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months.
You're avoiding the question, which is an answer in itself.
You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them.
That's a lot. His eyes linger on you, and there's no mistaking the threat behind it, and your rage shrinks at the image of an iron wheel in your mind, monolithic and caked with dried blood of thousands. You do not ask your question again. Oh.
How did you find it?
I didn't. It was Lady Webb.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason.
She loved you.
Then she should have obeyed. I ask one thing of all my followers. She was incapable. A waste of rare talent and intellect.
Her talent and intellect were too great for her to live as your servant.
What of your cohorts, then? They have followed you to their deaths. Is it loyalty that brings them here? Or is it, as my agents suggest, that they have no direction of their own? You worshipped Aethys, did you not?
Your spies are good. What gave me away? The cape?
Yet when your god needed you the most, you chose your country.
We were being invaded. Not by anyone who was acting like a god.
Then I should think your hometown gave you a hero's welcome when you returned.
They made cake. Hard to blame people for losing faith when it's the gods who are misbehaving.
The gods argue over how best to prevent Kith society from destroying itself. These disruptions would not be necessary were mortal instinct not so diseased.
The fuck are you talking about? Durant stares at Theos with a beast snarl. Theos watches him calmly.
You built a weapon that delivered exactly as promised.
I served my goddess as you did yours.
Yet the other builders were slain. 11 of a dozen. Why not you? Were you somehow different? Redeemable in your god's sight?
There was a message there, whether she meant it or not.
Or was it merely that your goddess wanted you dead as well, and your delusions of importance prevented you from seeing the obvious?
Snap.
A whore's beguiling charms, nothing more. But the spell's broke now, Theos. The trial's over. I know friend from foe. And I've come here now to see a foe repaid.
You were able to destroy a god because another god wished it. Without her hand to guide you, you could not strike at a god any more than you could strike the sky. You are impotent, and not just from the pox. I understand your Duke's bells gave you a mission.
Their orders do not absolve me of my greater responsibility to the safety and well-being of the Republics.
You might want to skip over this one, Theos. Don't want to pick a fight you can't win.
Yet you disobeyed. Something you already have a reputation for. They will know, of course. If it had been for a worthy cause, they might have forgiven you. But I don't see them pursuing animancy after seeing what it's done here. They trusted you, and you disappointed, as you always have. And you will again be disowned.
Fuck.
The parents scold, but the children are safe. Whether animancy research continues in the Republics or not, they will survive. For now, that's enough. In any case, I wouldn't be so smug about my fate, Theos. I imagine Woodica responds to disappointment much more severely than even my dukes.
State your name and purpose, young acolyte.
My name belonged to the gods in my hand to their service. No more.
You serve none but yourself. Without contact with your order, you can have no higher purpose. Only the base concerns of the flesh. You have cast yourself from our ranks.
Good.
And I should have done it years before.
Yeah.
I'd rather live in uncertainty than servitude.
Fair.
And that uncertainty would lead you where it leads everyone. To doubt, to emptiness, to the many cruelties inspired by disbelief. You will have to forgive your Grandmaster for remaining skeptical of his initiate's choices. You are far from home, dwarf.
I knew my hunt would send me a long way from Masuk. It was a challenge I was
God,
glad
I
to
did not
undertake for
mean
my
to bring
village.
her here. This is not the party I meant to beat the game with. But here we are.
A journey, then. It must be of some import to take you so far and to last so long.
It's important to Masuk, and so it's important to me.
Fair.
You are here because you are lost. The gods cannot reach everyone, I'm afraid. May you fare better in your next lives.
He directs his gaze at you.
I gather you have had your soul awakened. Why else would you shadow my footsteps like some stray mongrel? You think I have something to offer you, but our business was concluded long ago.
One of us is going to die in this room. You may as well admit your lie to me before that.
I answered your questions once. That your soul is not fit to accept the answers is of little concern to me. I lied to no one. Not to you, not to anyone. The gods are real. They are everything we need them to be, and the world is better for it.
You convinced me once that spreading your false faith would end atrocities. Yet here you are, committing your own.
The spread of our faith ended many such atrocities. I do what I must to ensure it continues to do so. The heart of this country has skipped a beat. Nothing more. I have done far worse. I plunged
That's
the
not
peaceful
good.
kingdom of Telosus into civil war. I slew the monarch of Desantio, whose people never knew hardship under his rule, and replaced him with a cruel despot who brought them to ruin.
Why? Hey, tell me that story and how that's justified at all.
When plague arrived at the great city of Arborensis, I saw to it that the cure did not. They piled their dead outside the city in heaps that rose above their walls.
This is supposed to diminish the damage you've done here?
It is to show the proper perspective.
That you're even more evil?
There was a time, back when your soul was still a shapeless mist, when the world believed only in false gods. Thousands of them. Gods that told them to take slaves. Gods that told them to make war upon their neighbors and devour the slain. Gods that told them to burn their children alive and cover themselves in the ashes.
That's fucked up.
But all that changed when they learned of the true gods. Our gods. All those misshapen, bestial instincts melted beneath the radiance of our god's majesty. You could see it in their eyes. That dull emptiness replaced with the glimmer of a kindled spark.
Teaching them there were no gods would have achieved the same purpose.
And replaced it with one far worse.
No. Achieved the same purpose.
Have you imagined this existence? The one the apostate would have created. We are not all so virtuous as she. Without
Dude,
gods,
you're just
the most
wrong.
The most tyrannical. They would take that power
You're
for
just
themselves.
wrong and like a fucking idiot.
But more than that, it would be a hollow existence. All mysteries forever unanswered. All purposes constructed from aimlessness. No ending is to bring closure. Only a wheel, turning without mercy. Grinding our spirits to dust.
Shut the fuck up. You underestimate people.
For all my years, I have seen exactly what they are capable of.
When you make them do atrocities.
All I have seen, the millennia of experience. I will not.
You apparently saw Utopia and said, what if I break it? At least admit it. Admit to me that the gods are not true gods. I need to hear it from you.
You have not thought this through. There is no leaving this place for you. I allowed it once, but you have made it all too clear what a mistake my mercy was.
I'm gonna kill
Your
you,
soul
dude.
and thousands of others. I will see this world purged of its suffering.
You will do no such thing.
Hear me, Woodica. Your servant calls for aid.
Hello?
Roach 10!
Hey, maybe we shouldn't have let him do that. Maybe it would have been better if we had, shot him in the head before that had happened. What's that new ability I got? Okay, well, I think this might be the final confrontation. Oh, that's counted as a vessel. So you take that one, you take that one. No. It's thematically appropriate for me to tank Theos. Okay, still kill his body.
It's no use. I need something.
Stab this idiot. Oh, wait, did she kill it? Yes, that worked! Oh, this sword is the best. fucking... Oh, it's great. Hey, dude. Get fucking dunked.
Have to try something else.
This thing is...
What are you gonna do, bud? What are you gonna do, idiot? Ogre time! Just for fun. Ogre killed him! You got fucking stomped by Shrek, idiot! At your feet rests the body of Theos, hollow and dense wrinkles shaped by the silent shouldering of an eternal burden now smooth over his color-drained face. His soul remains still for a moment, defenseless, its energy expended in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud.
After journeying for lifetimes, I can't imagine his failure, knowing it was all for nothing.
In his own way, Theos must have truly believed he was caring for the people of Eora, protecting them.
I mean, yeah, he thought that. He was wrong, though.
Soul won't have a chance to reflect on his errors before it enters the wheel.
At some point, you have to look at the things your god is telling you to do. And ask yourself if it's worth it. He spent his lives, more than any of us will ever know. For what? Binding the world to a lie. Could a man like that ever be redeemed?
Explore his soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Theos' soul. And wherein Brackenbury, it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, now it is expansive and borderless, its walls crumbling into heaps like the ruins of Engwith as you pass through them. You travel for what seems like ages, rushing to a known destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it, no more than a pinprick of light at the end of a long tunnel, expanding slowly at first, then quickly as you near. You come out in the room you are standing in now, but it is new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Adra pillar and the machine that encases it. Theos stands at the machine, and you are now one with him. You look at the crowd, at faces of shriveled old men and cherub-cheeked little girls, at mothers bouncing infants to quiet them, and fathers clasping their children's restless hands, watching you with somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back toward the machine, your breaths constricted beneath the weights of unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base of a great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths aglow and sending tremors through the platform beneath you. The entire room shakes now with the force of the accelerating machine, all sound drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arc outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one, the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into gray heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above to the Adra pillar, and its glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation as though it were being spun of the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating, so bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement, and look back to see it melt into the pillar like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light, bright as the sun itself, then fades to darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cogs have passed, the chamber is still, and you are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed in through the memory, and you find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down at Theos' lifeless body. You sense a listlessness to Theos' soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it, and you are able to do as you please. Definitely not just return it to the cycle. That would be a terrible idea. 'Cause he'll just come back and do it again. That's kind of his whole thing. Destroy all memories contained within. Your memory makes you a slave to your own past. Perhaps it can't be undone, but it can be forgotten. It shall trouble neither of us any longer.
No! You cannot allow this. He will have no reminders. He will not remember the message we wrote on his fragmented bones and carved into his flesh. The lesson we burned into his soul.
Yeah, but he also won't remember to be like a murderer.
You were kinder to that man than I would have been.
A questionable act. Without his memories, there will be nothing of Theos left to appreciate your mercy.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I'm not doing it for appreciation. I'm doing it to not destroy a soul, but also not birth a genocider. You return to the landscape of Theos' memory, to the vast terrain of deceptions and crippling despair. And you can feel your agency in this world now, an ability to reshape to the whims of your dominant will. You focus on a vision of pure emptiness, and your will becomes a swirling vortex around you, sweeping through the landscape and bearing away moments and lifetimes like some apocalyptic bivouac that would tear away the essence of the planet itself. The storm builds until the very crust of the world peels from the fabric of the soul that anchored it, and it is borne off into the sky until it is too distant to observe. The last thing you see is a white void, boundless in all directions, unfettered by the shackles of experience and doubt. In the stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind. A word you spoke when you were one with Theos in the ancient memory. You realize it is the word that activates the machine. Dick butt. Loot? No? Hey, dear.
He had hold of your soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what you needed from him?
I got an answer to an old question.
Those can be hard to come by, but maybe that's best. Forces you to find your own footing.
Sure.
You'll be feeling better soon then. Good. That's real good. You got it figured out what you're going to do about all that?
Not
There's
yet.
a lot of people out there thinking they've been abandoned by their gods. There's not much that'll put the fear in you more than that. Take my word for it.
Oh, wait, you mean the souls? I do know what I'm going to do with
It was
that.
in my power, and I know it's not, but if it was, I'd find a way to give them the courage to face it. Not because they think there's some god looking out for them, but because they've just got it in them. And after what you've been through, though, I'm sure you got your own ideas. Better make it good.
Okay.
So much for Theos, then.
The membranes of Palagina's golden eyes sweep out and retract. Wait, what? She gazes. Oh, okay. Her irises expand.
Now you have a chance to set things right, back to the proper order of things. It will take the Deerwood generations to recover, but at least these souls will find their way back to the wheel, as it should be.
Uh-huh. That's the plan.
Astounding. I always knew the Leaden Key stood for something big, but I didn't quite realize what I'd gotten myself into.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
You're in the middle of something even bigger. The decision that will affect millions.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you send the souls somewhere specific now, who knows what the next turn of the wheel will make of them? We can't really control what happens to them. Nor should we try. I had to see the monster Theos had become to realize that.
Maybe so.
It's your decision, of course. And whatever you decide, I'm glad our paths crossed in Gilded Vale.
Hey, Aloth, why was that voice line slightly louder than the previous one?
Ah, the end of the road greets us at last. You fared well, Watcher. Better than any Watcher has right to. Seems you were a field in need of a flames cleansing.
What does that mean?
But with that trial's end, a new one begins. A god's trial.
Okay.
And I will stand in judgment without mercy.
Alright.
Never thought I'd see something like this in my travels.
Fair.
Lends a little
Neither
perspective,
did I.
doesn't it?
That's all you gotta say?
Certainly.
Okay, With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Theos once stood before his people long ago. The great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. I don't know, that thing's spinning an awful lot for it to just be idle. You've seen this machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It is a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it would be a simple matter to influence that direction. Though as big as the machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. Speak the command to activate the machine. There's a shrieking of stone grinding against stone as old cogs loosen and begin to turn. You have only moments before the souls will be sent into the Audra vein. This will be your only chance to redirecting them. Tropically disintegrate the souls. Yeah, just destroy, like, thousands of souls, just for funsies. That would be fucked up. That would be like a fucked up thing to do. 1 and 4, send the souls back and distribute the essence to existing souls to strengthen them. Seem like the best options. But I did promise Bareth I would just send them back. And God or not, it seems like a bad idea to break a deal. You close your eyes and expand your perception outward, taking in the immense totality of tens of thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. Your grasp on the souls is tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence. You can feel them slipping away from you as the machine gains speed. A brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold all of them at once, and their force is so great it feels as though they will tear you apart. In that moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in a new direction. Down to hell!
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale, pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis.
Neat.
Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away. Your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last.
God, I'd love
After
that.
coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Theos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Theos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left.
Really?
At
In
your
just a
direction,
few days?
The lost souls of the Hollowborn were funneled back into the churn of Bareth's wheel to find their way into new vessels and partake in the life they had been denied during Whiterun's legacy. The
Fair.
barons of Hollowborn would remain just that. The end of Whiterun's legacy would bring about a spate of new, healthy births, with many of the infants bearing souls once meant for Hollowborn children. The natural cycle of life and death had been restored to Deerwood, and with it came a renewed faith in the providence of the gods. Though you had killed Lord Radric in his throne room,
I did
so
do that.
strong was his drive to rid his land of Eothasians that he returned to life as a death guard, a deathless crusader for his brutal cause. With the remains of his humanity stripped away, Radric came to see all the people of Gilded Vale as worshippers of Eothas. And one day, he led his forces into the village personally.
Didn't someone else take control?
Gilded Vale was left a hollow shell, its buildings ruined, and its people slaughtered.
Jesus
Even travelers
Christ.
and would-be squatters knew better than to take refuge inside its borders. Lord Radric returned to Radric's Hold, where he remained, keeping eternal watch over his barren domain.
Okay.
Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval.
Yeah,
In the ensuing
that
weeks,
tracks.
the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed.
Fair.
But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in unraveling Whiterun's legacy. They were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. Having seen both the ills and the promise of animancy, internally the Knights quietly began a more cautious exploration of the new science.
Nice.
Depleted in numbers, but bolstered by their newly forged stock of soul-augmented weaponry and a small contingent of forged knights,
Sick.
the Knights of the Crucible would soon become an order few in Defiance Bay would dare to cross.
Neat.
But the opportunity to build upon their newfound power proved too great a temptation for the High Justice.
Damn it!
What was at first a measured approach to animancy soon gave way to a rapid buildup of armaments. The High Justice would eventually seize control of the city for his order and place Defiance Bay under indefinite martial law.
Motherfuck!
Though the machine atop Ter Noaneth had been disabled, it had not seen its last use. Heritage Hill was rebuilt, and no sooner had the first families moved in to resettle the district than members of the Leaden Key, acting under standing orders from their Grand Master, climbed the tower and reactivated the machine. The initiates.
Why didn't they break it? Why didn't people break it?
History repeated itself, the victims reanimating and devouring the survivors. After this second incident, the district would remain abandoned.
God
The
damn
Duke's
it.
assassination at the apparent hands of an animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay. But those who had escaped the melee in the palace hearings remembered the testimonies of the strange guest who had shown up that day and absolved animancy, implicating the Leaden Key instead. The rumor spread quickly, and soon the popular belief was that the assassin had been a Leaden Key spy.
Well, that's something.
When the legacy had lifted, people came to see it not as a sign that the riots had been according to the gods' wishes, as Theos had hoped, but as a confirmation that animancy had never been the source of the problem in the first place.
Oh, good.
Deerwoodans instead
Excellent.
convinced themselves that the riots had somehow purged Defiance Bay of Leaden Key spies, and that the end of Whiterun's legacy was their well-deserved reward.
All right.
The rage against animancers was quickly forgotten, and those who had survived were permitted to return to Brackenbury Sanitarium and rebuild it so they might resume their studies.
Always looking over their shoulder.
Abidon's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Deerwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Abidon's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins.
Hell yeah.
Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Aer Glanfath rose. As for Stalwart, the Battle of Caeron's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan steel and build new marvels with the White Forge.
Durgo steel.
However, Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Serens, as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border and vowed to finish the work of the Iron Flail. It would be many generations before the region saw peace. The Flames That Whisper clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless.
Nice.
The clan moved back into the Russet Wood, and as Stalwart grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors.
Sweet.
Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcome in the Russet Wood.
Fantastic.
Armka's death had brought the Devil of Carrick little satisfaction. In time, her taste for vengeance soured. What replaced it was a hunger to feel something, anything, new. Summer had thinned the snowpack twice over when she felt the joint at her elbow first begin to stiffen. She turned her back on the hopes of animancy and civilization and walked east. She pushed through the mountains, past Raid Ceres, and into the broad plains of Ishamiddle. She had forgotten what it was like to simply journey. No goal or destination in mind. Though she felt nothing more than the steady thump of her feet on the road, the endless horizons and grassy meadows were new to her. She measured her time in the gradual rusting of her body, and was satisfied.
Neat.
Her movements slowed, but so did the world around her. Waist-high grasses undulated and tacked in the wind, as gradual as the tides. Sparrows and blackjays made steady pilgrimages across the sky, each flap of their wings a solemn salute. She could hardly move when she found something she had never seen before, the ocean. With the last of her strength, she pulled herself beneath the water, content at last to feel the movement of currents and the constant caress of the waves.
Neat.
Free from the burden of her memory, Maneha soon left the gift-bearers and resumed adventuring.
Hell yeah.
Now that she had a taste for the world, she wanted to experience it anew.
Fuck yeah.
Maneha rediscovered her zest for battle, extravagance,
I bet she did.
and romance. She kept her gaze on the horizon, looking from one journey to another more distant, from the lover in her arms to another more fervent. Hers was a life of excitement, violence, and passion. She moved too quickly for regret to catch up with her, and she hoped only that she might outpace it in the next life as well. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur.
I never went deep under.
Pallegina had gone against the Duke Spell's orders by inventing a new trade arrangement with the Anamenfath to accommodate the recovering Deerwooden market. With the Deerwood's people still weakened by Weidman's legacy, the Valian republics easily pushed their would-be competitors out of the market. For her outrageous insubordination and audacity, Pallegina was banished from the republics. She traveled north in the Eastern Reach, avoiding Valian ports and entering the ranks of the kind wayfarers. Despite her bravery and dedication to those in her care, her strange appearance made her feel like an outsider wherever she went.
That's valid.
Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Still most
Good.
comfortable far
He'd have
from
died.
cities, he settled in Deerford, which, like many towns in the Deerwood, was beginning the slow process of rebuilding. Believing now that it was the obligation of Kith to be the leaders their gods had not, Adair was soon named mayor of the town.
Nice.
And under his guidance, Deerford soon began to prosper. He expelled the last of the Scanites from the area and drew new settlers with the offer of land, a trick he had learned from someone he otherwise preferred to forget. With each passing day, Deerford would come to more closely resemble the Gilded Vale of Adair's childhood, the one worthy of its name.
Nice.
When the dust
And
settled
without
in
the
sun and
murder.
shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Theos Ixarchanon, his former master. He saw where the Grandmaster had gone wrong, and what would be required to undo the harm Theos had wrought. With a flick of his wrist, he burned Theos's robe, headdress, and every other symbol of the man's power. Never again, he vowed, should Kith live in fear and blind obedience to an authority they did not understand.
Fuck yeah.
Armed with the knowledge and courage he had gained on his journeys with the Watcher, he set out on the long and lonely task of dismantling the Leaden Key.
Sick.
With the Watcher's goals accomplished and his own vows fulfilled, Kanarua sailed back toward Rawatai, thinking on the lessons his travels had provided him. By the time he landed
Should've
at
brought
Tekoa,
that guy.
he understood what his path must be. Standing
I'm
before
glad
the
he still
Lore
gets like
College,
an epilogue though.
Kanarua explained that the tablet he sought had been destroyed, and so a true interpretation of the Tonvi Oratoa could no longer exist. The people of Rawatai would have to create their own. He described the many strange things he had seen in his travels, and announced his intent to pursue the accumulation of knowledge abroad, seeking answers to new questions. True to his word, Kana soon set sail on yet another expedition, and in Tekoa, his passionate accounts inspired many to follow in his footsteps.
Hell yeah, adventure
With
boy.
Theos defeated and the souls released from sun
God,
and
I
shadow,
didn't do anything with
healthy
her.
children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford.
I
where, to the
completely forgot
astonishment of the
about her,
villagers,
kinda.
She delivered the first healthy child,
Which is, you know,
in
kind
over
of
a decade. She
fitting,
remained
I
there,
guess.
And with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past.
Nice.
Durrance continued to blame Woodica for the atrocities of the Saints' War. Believing Magrin to have been a pawn
Oh,
in the
what a
machinations
fucking
of the Queen
dude.
that was, and feeling that Theos's expulsion had been a step towards reconciliation with his goddess, Durrance tried for a time to reopen communication with her. When only silence came, he took it as a condemnation of his continued existence. Ultimately, he built a pyre and threw himself upon it, using his
Jesus.
own shattered staff as kindling.
Guess I should have done his
Sagani
quest.
never found Persok together. The Adra figurine had gone dark by the time they emerged from Sun and Shadow, and it was another month before Sagani finally accepted that Persok's trail had gone cold again. Her
Oops.
search took her beyond the Deerwood and as far as the Living Lands. She saw the great
Oopie
coastal
doops.
cities of Rawatai and the ruins of Old Valia, absorbing the details of these
Sorry.
strange and distant lands. 20 years passed before the Adra figurine finally glowed again. When it did, she followed its signal to a quiet hamlet on the outskirts of Adir. There, she met a young farmer and told her of her past as an elder of Masuk. Sagani returned to a village that had forgotten her face, but remembered her story. Masuk greeted her with cautious warmth, and Sagani found that their ways had become strange to her.
Yeah, that's fair. She'd been
She
gone
also
for
learned that
25
Kara had
years.
perished of winter fever a few years before, and her middle child, Najuo, had died in a raid.
I don't know who those
But she
are.
found her daughter Yakona a hunter and mother of 3, and her son Malak a builder of mighty walls. In them, she came to find her place in the village, and the familiar contours of a world that had changed in her absence.
Okay.
For you, the death of Theos brought an end to your waking visions, and a
Neat.
silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep.
Oh,
The
bless.
questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait.
Ooh, that's pretty.
A long journey loomed ahead.
Yeah, it did. In Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. What? Alright! We did it! We beat the game! That was quicker than I expected it to be. I thought that this would take longer tonight. But then it didn't, and so here we are. So thank you for watching, y'all. This is a really good game. I definitely suggest checking it out for yourself, because it's really good and really cool. Big shout out and big thank you to my lovely patrons, whose names will appear in just 1 second. Excuse me. Yep, there they are. Hey. Y'all are cool and awesome, and I love and appreciate you. If you want to see your name appear there, check out patreon.com/Mixter Casual. There you will find that you can give me money. And that's cool and nice. Patrons, in addition to getting their names in credits, get access to special privileges in the Project Yayhem Discord, which is open to everyone. But patrons get some extra channels and such. Including one where I post all the thumbnails that I've made before the episodes go live, and other stuff. They also get heavier votes on upcoming games. I allow everyone to vote on in the Project Yayhem Discord, but folks who are patrons, that their votes weigh a little heavier. Yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna play next for this, but it's gonna be something good. Keeping with the tabletop theme, because that's what this is. Yeah, if you liked what you saw here, check out the rest of the videos on youtube.com/Project Yayhem. Check out the other streams that I do. Stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And now, before each stream, I'm going to be doing some roguelike stuff. Probably going to be playing Dreamscaper for a while, like I did today. Yeah, at some point I'll move on to something else. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Oh, I'm very sleepy. I know this stream was short today, because I beat the game. I won't be starting something new. I'll just be ending this once the credits are done, because I do want to give credit where credit's due. These people made a very good and cool game, and they deserve credit for that. And my patrons deserve credit for being cool and supporting me. If you can't support me monetarily by being a patron, that's fair. That's fine. But you can still support me by, like, comment, subscribe, share. Shares are huge. Like, that's how I get seen. Like, people don't find me because of the algorithm. Because the algorithm says that I'm too small to care about. So if you like what you saw, tell your friends, tweet about it, post it in your Discord. You know, all that stuff. 'Cause otherwise, no one finds me. But yeah, stuff. This is a good game. I should have done more side quests and stuff, but womp womp. On the bright side, going into Pillars of Eternity 2, they give you the option of, like, saying, like, choosing all the things you did. So, when I finally do play that, whenever that may be, I'll be able to either import my save or more likely just say all the things that I did and then wish I did. Yeah. I wished... I'm actually surprised that it didn't say anything about the... like, the Lord Down Under or whatever. Because, deep under your fucking castle is a dragon. And that's something that you gotta deal with. There's like a couple different ways that you can do that. But yeah, obviously I didn't. And there's also a bunch of other side quests, like I didn't do any of the shit with Durance, and so he lit himself on fire. And then I didn't finish Sagani's quest. I'm pretty sure that ends with her finding that the guy she was supposed to find got, like, reincarnated as a stag. Which is fun. And, yeah, there's a lot of cool shit. There's a lot of cool shit in this game. Again, absolutely play it for yourself. It's a very good game. Cheat if you want to. Cheating is fine. But, I will make this go a little bit faster, because this is just the backers on that like kickstarted this game. And I'm not in this list, so I don't care about any of them. That's not true. I do appreciate these people for helping a great game to be made. Like, it's very cool of them. But there's a lot of names. Like, a lot of names. So, rather than talk for 10 minutes as these names go by, I'm gonna make it so I only have to talk for 5. That's somewhat of a joke, but if anyone's watched my Psychonauts 2 finale, the fucking backers there went for like 15 minutes. Because a lot of people wanted that game, and it turned out to be a great game, so it was worth it, but yeah. This also was a really good game, and I'm a little bummed that I didn't know about it and didn't know to back it. Cause yeah, it's real good, and I would highly recommend it. Cause it's fun. It's got some real good story stuff, and it's just cool and sexy. It's a fun game that you should play, and everyone should play. By law, everyone should have to play it. Or else. Oh, we're at M's now. That means we're almost halfway there, right? Maybe a little more than halfway there. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to play next for Tuesday streams. There are a lot of games based off tabletop games. Not going to jump immediately into Pillars of Eternity 2. But that's definitely going to be something I play at some point. Because that also is a good and cool game. And yeah. But I know Icewind Dale's on the table, which would be fun, because that game's fucking wild. Tyranny, it's another game by Obsidian with like this same engine, but like a whole different world. Divinity Original Sin, that game fucks. That game fucking rules. Up. But okay. So with that, we have won. We have finished the game. And I'm going to go eat and then sleep. So thank you for watching, y'all. I love you. I'll see you next time. Remember, Black Lives Matter. Defund the police. Bye-bye!